Another engine came in from the machine shop. Got it all bored out, everything, so got to knock some cam bearings in it, get some crank bearings put in it, get that crank slapped in and start buttoning her up. All right, she's all in primer. Now I just got to figure out what colors to go with. I might have to go shopping maybe. Hey everybody, back in the shop working on the old 5.3 build here. This is all freshly machined. I did mask it off and paint the block, but today we're going to go ahead, use the Summit tool and put some Durabond cam bearings in, so we're not fighting with the crank being in there. We'll clean that crank really good, get the main bearing set in here, get the crank dropped in. I had all that checked by the machine shop. They mic'd it all out, so we're good. But anyways, let's get at putting them cam bearings in here, see how far we get today. All right, so this one takes the CHP-25. Actually, it can take the 23 as well. But I'm doing the 25s, they're wider. But I know I mentioned this in a video before. But what I like to do when I'm putting cam bearings in is I'll line up the center of that oiling hole with the galley, and then I'll put a Sharpie mark at the top. So like this is an end bearing, 1 or 5. So then if I know if I set this into place with the Sharpie mark or the paint mark up, then the oil galley will line up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that all done, all the bearings, so then I can just get them all popped in. All right, got all my marks aiming up, marked on the bearings. So I'll go ahead and brush this tool off, get it cleaned off, and get these things hammering in. All right, I got that first bearing in. The end ones are easy to see. You can see oil galley is lined up for the most part. The bearing could just go just a tish further. I'll get that corrected. But usually in 2, 3, and 4 cam bearings, I'll take a 90-degree pick, reach in there, make sure the hole's plenty big, clear, and then go on. So I'll get the rest of these knocked in and away we'll go. All right, like that, cam bearings are in. Check the centers. They're lined up just fine. So we'll go ahead and get these main caps off and blow out the block. Make sure there's no metal shavings from popping the bearings in. Then we'll go ahead and get bearings set in for the crank. Get the crank set in. Got the mains out. I'm gonna go ahead and bring air over here and I'm gonna blow out all the holes, blow out all the oil galleys. Then we'll flip it back over and put the bearings in. All right, went ahead and blew it all out. Got all the any metal shavings that would be in the galley out. I blow through every hole up here. I blow through every crank hole. I'll blow in here, and then I'll go through the oil galley in the back, get that all blown out. and I do it back and forth, I just want to make sure there's nothing in there that'll haunt me. But anyways, now I'll go ahead and get some main bearings set in here. And then I got to clean that crank up. I've had it out of the bag for a couple days sitting on this bench. So I'll go ahead and brake clean that, blow it all out, every port, and then I'll go ahead and set that in here. All right, back in the shop. Sorry, it's been a hectic couple days. Where I left off, I was getting ready to put main bearings in. I still got to clean my crank. I just pulled the bag off of it. I got to clean these up a little bit. I don't know if you can see. Bolts still are kind of grimy. But anyways, got my main bearings here. I'll blow out the block again. I'll get this brake cleaned out, blow all the ports out, get it ready, and then I'll go ahead and put all the bearings in. But in the meantime, I also ordered a bunch of parts. So I'm going to try these. Speedmaster rocker arms, they're roller tip. I just got a gasket set, nothing special. Summit springs, seals, push tubes, camshaft. They're LS7 lifters. Hopefully they're good. And this is GM lifter trays. Got a Cloy's timing gear set with ARP bolts. Got the cover all painted up. But in the meantime, let's get some of this stuff all cleaned up and ready to assemble. All right, I went ahead and blew the block out again. But I'm gonna get a couple more SOP pads and I'm gonna go set this probably out here on the floor once I clean it. Don't mind all the other engines. I got a stand on its way so I can get one put on that one put on a new one. And but anyways, we'll clean the floor up, get a little cart out here, get this thing all cleaned off, bearings in. Let's get at it. All right, got that crank all blown out. These are all brake cleaned, letting them dry. Go ahead and drop the bearings in here. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and use some of this Melling M10012 lube. You can buy it at O'Reilly's, online, whatever. But we're gonna go ahead and lube up these bearings and get that crank dropped in. All right, so I got all the bearings in, main cap set on, everything's lubed, except for the bolts. I'm gonna pull all them out, put some thread lube. It's not John Deere Never Sees. I've just been filling this little container up with ARP lube. So anyways, I'll go ahead and lube up them bolts and get them all torqued down. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and torque all my main cap bolts to 15 foot-pounds. Center is 80 degrees, outside's 53 degrees. Side bolts are, I think, 18 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and torque them, and I will use my silver paint marker, put a dot on every bolt that's torqued. Then I'll come back with a white paint marker as I do torque angle, and then put a dot on them with a white marker. That'll tell me they're torqued the first round and angle torqued. But anyways, I'll go ahead and get that done. First round of torquing is all done. So now I'll go torque to angle. All right, all the mains are torqued except for the outside. So anyways, I'll go ahead and get some silicone and silicone the outside bolts, put them in and torque them in. All right, got all the mains torqued up. So I'm gonna flip this thing over and I'm gonna go ahead and put the cam in and the timing set. I gotta pull that gear off, get all that put in, and then torqued up. Then we'll start working on pistons and rods, getting them all assembled, and gapping rings. All right, got the cam in. It's all lubed up in there using this Melling lube. I'm gonna go ahead and put the cam plate on and get it all tightened up. All right, cam plate is all on. I lubed the back side where the cam will press up against it if it does walk. And then I lubed up the seal on it. So now I'm gonna get this gear pulled off, get the crank set to TDC, and get the new one slid on and the timing set on. All right, got the new gear on. So I'll go ahead and put that at TDC. Then we'll get the gear marked, lined up, chain on, and the 3 cam bolts in. Got the timing set on, bolts all torqued up. So now I can go ahead and start getting pistons and rods together, but I'm gonna take a break from this. And I picked up another engine stand. Gotta decide which one, probably that one. Pick it up, bolt it up to the stand. And then that one, I'll just move out of the way. I'll have to build some sort of cart or something to go ahead and store it up with other motors upstairs. All right, in the meantime, I got these lifters rinsed off with some brake clean and filled this up with Rotella 1540. I'm gonna put the lid on it, let them things soak and get all the air out of them. All right, back on this bugger. I got all my pistons, bearings for the rods, rings, rods, clips, all laid out here. Everything's balanced to match each other, so it really doesn't matter, even though I marked which hole the rods came out of, but they balanced everything to match each other. So anyways, I'm gonna go figure out ring gap on this and do some calculations, and we'll see where we're gonna go from there. All right, my bore is 3.810. I times that by 0.0070. Brought me to 26 thousandths ring gap for the top ring, and I'm gonna go 2 thousandths more for the second ring. So I'll do 26 and 28 thou for top and second ring. So I'll go ahead and get all the rings lined up for every hole and get them all ground and cut to size, fitted, and I'll put them on the piston they go to. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and get my rods paired with my pistons per what hole they go in, and then I'll go ahead and set up the rings. All right, I got all the rods and pistons together. I'm gonna put the oil ring on. I've already went around and gapped all my second rings using, I think I got this from Summit Racing, diamond ring cutter, but I just put my drill on slow speed, and that way I don't have to sit there and bolt it to something and hand crank it. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get these on, the second ring's on, and then I'll go ahead and cut the top ring. Sorry about that, just kind of NASCAR'd away. We got all the pistons, rods in, torqued. Headset on, all the studs on and torqued. I'm gonna go ahead and get the push tubes in and the rockers on. I'm gonna try out these Speedmaster rockers. I did just put them on and was just kind of checking preload with 7400 push tubes. I'm gonna have to take my checker and check it because before they were seated, I was out of preload in my lifter. So anyways, I'll have to do some measuring real quick and order the right push tubes. All right, so I set my intake and everything on, fuel injectors and rails. Went to go put the throttle body on. My water pump's in the way, but that's all right. I think I'm gonna switch over to the Trailblazer SS pump, or I don't remember what model it was, and then the shorter balancer. So I'm gonna pull this off, put the new water pump on and the new balancer. So that's all done. Then my throttle body lever will clear. And then we'll go ahead and rotate this thing over. And I got the pickup tube and oil pan in this box. So we'll go ahead and get that all bolted up. Got the water pump on, balancer seated. So I'm gonna go ahead and mount the throttle body real quick. Then I'll go ahead and turn this thing over and start working on the pickup tube and oil pan. All right, there we go. Oil pan's on, rear cover's on, and an oil filter. All right, so with all that stuff done, I'm gonna basically call it a wrap on this and get it all plugged up and bagged up, and it'll be waiting to go into this. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you guys want to see more.